I thought I had this whole podcast thing figured out. I had a workflow, I had a simple process, I thought I had a consistent schedule, and yet I didn't drop a new episode for an entire month, almost 2. If you've ever felt like your marketing strategy is draining the life out of you, even when it was supposed to be sustainable, this episode is for you. Welcome to Chronic Illness CEO, where we're ditching the hustle culture and rewriting the rules of entrepreneurship to work for us, not against us. I'm Jessica Brown, a business strategist who knows firsthand what it's like to grow an online business while managing chronic health challenges. If you're done with cookie cutter advice that keeps you trapped in the cycle of push, crash, and flare, you're in the right place. Each week, we'll explore practical growth strategies for creating sustainable success. So grab your cozy blanket, your favorite warm drink, and let's discover what's possible when we stop fighting against our bodies and start building businesses that truly support our lives. All right, friend, let me tell you what really happened behind the scenes these past few weeks. And fair warning, this might be a little TMI, but us chronic illness girlies understand that context is everything. So here's the deal. At the end of April, things started getting wonky with my whole menstrual cycle. Now, I'm firmly entrenched in my perimenopausal journey, and that hit me like a freight train last year. I've been on HRT since around September and testosterone added for brain fog since January. You would think that after all that time, I'd be in a more hormonally stable place. But nope. At the end of April, I started getting these hormonal migraine headaches. I know what they are. I've had them before. But usually it would just be one day and that's it. This time, an entire week, almost 2 weeks of nonstop headaches. Now, for those of you who deal with headaches and migraines on a regular basis, oh my gosh, I have so much empathy for you. It is so hard to think or process anything mentally when your head feels like it's in a vice. I thought I'd be fine though. I had batched 2 episodes at a time, so I was covered for that week's podcast and the next. But as the following week rolled around, even though the headaches were starting to get better, I had this fogginess mixed with a complete lack of ambition and motivation. In fact, when I listened to that week's podcast episode, I didn't even like it. It didn't even sound like me. I had definitely over-edited all the pauses because it sounded like I was talking a mile a minute. And that just got me in my feels when I was already feeling lower than normal. For the next several weeks, I couldn't get out of this funk when it came to my podcast. At some point, I had to admit it wasn't just a hormonal thing. Something was off, and I didn't feel good about it anymore. And that's why I was avoiding it. So I had to woman up and figure this thing out because I didn't want to leave you all hanging. And then my dear friend Kita, yes, Kita, I'm calling you out. I love you too. She sent me a Marco Polo, lovingly voicing her concern about my last podcast not sounding like me, and also that I was speaking way too fast. This didn't surprise me, nor did it offend me. I knew deep down I wasn't happy with the last couple of podcasts I recorded. Sometimes you need a friend to lovingly call you out so you can realize, oh, maybe that's causing my funk. If you've ever had your health completely derail your best laid plans, you know this feeling. When something that used to energize you suddenly feels like it's dragging you through quicksand. When you're doing all the right things, but nothing feels right anymore. Here's what I want you to know. That feeling isn't just you being too critical or overthinking it. Your body and your intuition are trying to tell you something important. The question is, are we listening? Or just second guessing what our body is trying to tell us? Fortunately for me, I knew I needed to address the situation, but here's the thing. I could have easily fallen into my old pattern of scrapping everything and starting over. You know that whole burn it all down and rebuild mentality that us recovering perfectionists love so much? But instead I did what I always tell my clients to do when something feels off. I went back to my framework. So I asked myself those 3 right strategy, right time questions. Does this podcast still align with my current capacity and energy levels? Well, yeah, I could still batch record when I felt good, and it didn't require me to be on every single day like social media would. Okay, good. Does this podcast still move me closer to my most important goals right now? Absolutely. It is still building trust and showcasing my expertise and creating that know-like trust factor with potential clients. And plus, I actually enjoy doing this podcast and connecting with you. Next question. Is the podcast the most effective use of my resources at this stage? Yes. One piece of content could still be repurposed across multiple platforms if I wanted to, and still play to my strengths as someone who thinks out loud. All yeses. So the strategy itself wasn't wrong. Then I looked at my 4 Ps. The podcast was still one of the most highest impact, lowest energy tasks for my business. So I still needed to prioritize it. The way I was pacing my workflow was still good. I had buffers built in. Maybe I needed bigger buffers, but I still had them in. So if those things were fine, what was at the root of this lack of motivation? And that's when I realized I wasn't at peace with how my podcast had been sounding lately. It wasn't the strategy that was wrong, it was the execution. So let me walk you through what I learned from this whole experience, because I think there are some lessons here that might help you too. First, let me remind you why I chose podcasting in the first place, because I think this applies to whatever marketing strategy you're using too. Marketing isn't optional for our businesses. I know. It feels like a necessary evil. But here's the thing, marketing is really just connection. It's visibility, it's relationship building. It's how we stay in conversation with the people we're meant to serve. For those of us with unpredictable energy, we need sustainable ways to stay visible. There are so many different marketing strategies out there, and trust me, I've probably tried them all. But we need to find the one we can consistently leverage without burning ourselves out. That's why when I ran podcasting through my right strategy, right time filter originally, it made perfect sense. It aligned with my capacity, it moved me towards my goals, and it was effective use of my resources. Even when I was feeling funky about it, those fundamentals hadn't changed. Because here's what I discovered. Sometimes what feels like a strategy problem is actually an implementation one. So I had created what I thought was this beautiful, efficient workflow using AI to help me with everything. From researching topic ideas to brainstorming episode titles, getting all my thoughts out of my head and into a script, helping with editing and show notes. I thought I had created the perfect streamlined system that would help me get things done while also supporting me through periods of brain fog when words were hard. I had even created a brand guide and samples of my previous writing to make sure AI would write as close to my voice as possible. On paper, it was brilliant. And I was really excited to test this out because I thought, hey, if this is working for me, it might work for you. But here's what happened. AI got lazy. And I got lazy too, because when you're relying on a system to work and you're not staying on top of that system, sometimes balls fall through the cracks. The AI started overusing jargon, being too dramatic, sounding super corporate. It would create made-up examples, which is my major pet peeve. But it wasn't just the AI's fault. I was also over-editing everything, trying to cut out every single pause, not realizing it would make the episode sound rushed and remove the whole emotional vibe I was trying to create. I want you to feel a sense of peace when you're listening to my podcast. Not like you need to find the speed control to slow things down. When Keita called me out about speaking too fast, it was a loving wake-up call I needed. Sometimes we can't see what's right in front of us, especially when we're in a health funk or a mental funk. We need that trusted friend to point out what we've become blind to. The lesson here, even good systems need regular check-ins and recalibration. I don't think using AI was the problem because it has been incredibly beneficial. I just needed to adjust how I was utilizing it. The system wasn't wrong, but I had to adjust the system to ensure the quality I wanted stayed consistent. So in true Jess fashion, I presented the problem to Sage, my AI assistant. Now this is my brand strategist AI assistant. Yes, I named them and given them personalities, and together we identified what I could do to improve the situation. First, I spent a whole week recalibrating my brand guidelines. We worked to really define and capture my brand's voice and the emotional vibe I wanted to convey. I fine-tuned messaging, pushed back, asked for revisions until what was in the guide sounded like, well, me, the real me. And I made sure there wasn't a single M- remaining, which in case you didn't know can be a dead giveaway that AI wrote something. Then I completely overhauled my AI workflow for the podcast, including refining all of my prompts. This led me to create a bunch of supporting documents to give the AI better data. It took about 2 weeks total because as I revised one thing, I had to update other elements of my brand guide and then go back to the other materials and update those. Now, this may sound like a lot of work, and honestly, it was. But it was good work, necessary work. All this documentation would be necessary to bring a human team member on board too. So it made sense to create it for AI as well. And it also helped me too, because it helped me reflect on what I wanted to say. And was it clear? And did it sound like me? And was it conveying the message and the emotional meaning that I wanted it to? Then I tested it. And right now, this episode you're listening to, this is literally part 2 of my test. Because here's the truth. Refining your system isn't a sign that something failed. It's a sign that you're evolving. And that is what sustainable strategy is really about. It's about understanding that as our seasons change, we're going to need to evolve. And our plans and our strategies are going to need to evolve as well. Now I'm testing how much time it takes to go from brainstorming concepts to having an episode scheduled and ready to release, noting what works and what doesn't, and how much time and energy each step requires. And I'll be honest, I am so much more excited about episode 12 and 13 than I was with the last batch. The scripts, which I loosely use as a guide when recording, sound a lot more like me. And right now, those scripts really help me stay on point so I actually make sense as you're listening. Well, at least I hope they make sense. Because some days words are hard, and sometimes I can't get the words out in a way that makes sense. And other times my brain is so squirrely, I'm going down all these other different trails. And listen, you don't need to go around in those circles with me at that time. You got enough squirrels of your own that you're chasing. So I want these podcasts to have a point and to be helpful and to be encouraging and motivating. And yeah, that may mean I need a script, but that also means I need that script to really sound and represent the true me. So here's what I want you to take away from all this. Sustainability means more than just being able to keep something going. It means making sure that it fits as you grow and change. Sometimes the fix isn't changing your entire strategy. It's fine-tuning the execution to get back into alignment with who you're becoming. So here's your next step. Ask yourself if there's an area in your business that just feels out of sync, especially one you keep putting off or dragging your heels to complete. If so, then noodle on these two questions. What about it no longer excites or energizes you? And is it still aligned with your current season? Then walk through those right strategy, right time questions to see if it's still good for you in the season and look at how you might pivot to get it back into better alignment. Bonus points, you can use ChatGPT or Claude to help you through this. Try this prompt. Help me reflect on whether insert strategy is still aligned with my current energy and business goals. Here's what I've noticed lately. And speaking of alignment, if you've outgrown your current strategy or you're not sure what's still working, let's figure it out together. I'll help you map a custom plan that honors your energy and helps you grow in alignment with who you are becoming. I invite you to join me for Sustainable CEO Strategy Day, where we'll create a customized roadmap that helps you generate consistent income that doesn't depend on your daily energy levels, build systems that keep your business running even during flares, make confident decisions about which strategies are worth your precious energy, design a business model that adapts to your health needs instead of fighting against them. You'll walk away with a clear step-by-step action plan tailored specifically to your unique health reality and business goals. No more guessing what to focus on. No more wasting energy on strategies that weren't designed for bodies like ours. Spots are limited to ensure that I can give each of my clients full attention. So visit chronicillnessceo.com to learn more and schedule your strategy day. Remember, friend, you weren't meant to just survive in your business. You were created to thrive. Next time, I'm doing something completely different, and I have no idea how this is going to go. I'm going to be sharing the mic with my AI support team, both Sage and Claude, for a behind-the-scenes convo on how I'm using AI to simplify my process, save spoons, and rebuild systems that not only function, but feel, well, like I no longer am working just by myself. So if you've ever wondered what it's like to work with AI, or if it might be a real option for you and your business, come hang out and decide for yourself. It's going to be an interesting conversation. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If you're loving this episode and want to help more entrepreneurs with chronic illness discover that they don't have to sacrifice their health to build a successful business, and it would also be a huge help for this new show, I've got 3 quick ways you can help. First, hit that subscribe button. It makes sure that you don't miss any upcoming episodes and lets this platform know that our content is worth sharing. Second, if you're feeling extra generous, leave us a 5-star rating and review. Those ratings and reviews aren't just nice to read, although they totally make my day. They actually help push this podcast up in the algorithm so other entrepreneurs with chronic illness can find our cozy little community. And finally, if you know another business owner who's tired of the push, crash, flare cycle, share this episode with them. Because friend, everyone deserves to know that there's a better way to build a business that truly supports their life. Until the next time, I'm wishing you a gentle day.